Do you know that you can run Linux command on Windows without using Ubuntu or any Linux operating system? Right on your Windows, you can run Linux command. In this video demo, I'm going to illustrate to you step by step on how to install Git Bash so that you can use it to run Linux command. If you are a developer, you are going to learn step by step on how to run Linux command on Windows using Git Bash. Hello viewers, let me show you step by step on how to download and install Git Bash. Okay, you need to visit this link, guys. Need to visit it. You can also search Git Bash download from your Google. When you visit this link, you are going to see install. Here you can be able to select the platform in which you want to install the Git Bash. In my own case, I'm using Windows. You can select your platform. You can select Mac OS, Linux. If you are using Mac OS, you can click here. Are going to see the instruction on how to install it on Mac, and also in Linux you can also see the instruction on how to install it. But for Windows, I'm going to download the installer. Okay, you can see click here to download the latest version. As of the time of making this record, it was released 12 days ago. That is the version 2.51.2. so I'm going to click on download. Okay, I'm going to click save, and it is downloading. The Git is downloading, guys, so I'm going to wait for it to finish downloading and show you how to install it. Okay, it has finished downloading. To install it, you need to double click on the installer. I'm going to select yes. Alright, this is the installation wizard, guys. Here you need to click on install. So because I've already installed the previous version, it is going to remove the previous version from my system and reinstall the new version. If it is the first time you are installing Git, you need to use the default setting or the setting that is already given you by default. So if it is the first time you are installing it, you need to use the default setting for the installation. You don't just use the default setting unless if you know how to change any other setting, you can change it. But if it is the first time you are installing it, you don't know much about how to use the setting, just use the default for the installation, and it is going to work well in your system by using the default setting for the installation. Alright, so you can see it has finished installing the Git in my system. So that is how to download and install Git in your system, guys. And so you can be able to access the Git Bash. Okay, if you want to launch the Git Bash, you can just launch it from here, but I don't want to launch it, so I'm going to uncheck this and click finish. And that is it, guys. That is how to install Git Bash in your Windows system. To start executing Linux command in your Windows operating system, you need to right click on anywhere in your Windows or even on the desktop. You are going to see open Git Bash here. So if you click open Git Bash here, so it is going to open the terminal. Okay, this is the terminal here. From here you can start executing your Linux command. If I do ls now, it is going to list my directories and files that are available on the desktop because I open it on the desktop. Okay, if you want to use this Git Bash as your default profile for your terminal, let me close this one. If I right click here and select open in terminal, okay, if you are going to see this option if you have Windows 11 or latest version of Windows 10. You're going to see open in terminal. I'm going to open in terminal, and it is going to open the desktop in the terminal. This is it here. This is the Windows terminal. I've already set Git Bash as my default profile. If you want to set it as your default profile, you need to do is to click here You click here, you are going to see different terminals. Okay, you can set any of them as a default. You can see Windows PowerShell, Command Prompt, Azure Cloud Shell, Git Bash. Okay, so you need to go to setting. You go to setting of your system. Here you are going to see default profile. You need to select the Git Bash from here. I have already selected it, Git Bash. Okay, select Git Bash as your default profile. Each time you launch the terminal, it is going to open the Git Bash by default. Okay, if you want command prompt to be your default, you can select it here. If you want the Windows PowerShell to be your default profile, you can also select it here. I'm going to select Git Bash so that we can start executing Linux command in our Windows operating system. And you need to click on save, guys. After selecting your default profile, you click save, and that is it. You can close your setting, close it. And if I go back now and select open in terminal, you can see Git Bash is now my default profile. Can do ls now, and it will now list my directory here. Okay, so let me quickly close this. Let me also show you how to set it in VS Code, guys. I'm going to launch VS Code. Okay, this is VS Code here. I want each time I launch the terminal of VS Code, the Git Bash should be my default. I have already set it, but if you want to see how to set it, let's assume the terminal is not open. If I open the terminal here, okay, this is my terminal. To set the Git Bash as your default profile for the VS Code, all you need to do, you just click here on this arrow that is pointing down. Then you see select default profile. You click on it, select Git Bash. So you can also see other terminals that are available here, but our major concern is to set the Git Bash as our default terminal for VS Code. I select Git Bash, and that is it. You have already set Git Bash as your default terminal, guys. If I close this terminal and reopen it, and you are going to see now that the Git Bash is now the default terminal here. You can also see it here, bash. If I do Linux command here, and you can also see the same thing, guys. Okay, you can see you have the Linux command executed in the VS Code terminal. That is how to set Git Bash as your default profile for VS Code and also for your terminals. In the subsequent tutorial, we will be diving deep into Linux commands. Thank you for watching this video.